You know, in the world of Vedic astrology, there are some ideas that are just deeply fascinating. One of them is this concept of shadow, an echo from the past that can actually stretch across generations and affect us today. We're talking about Pitru Dosha, and we're going to decode it right now.
Wow, that sounds intense, doesn't it? An ancestral curse. But for so many people, this isn't just some dramatic line. It's a real astrological concept they're trying to figure out. So what is this ancestral shadow, really? Let's get into it.
All right, so to really get a handle on this, we've got to start at the very beginning. What exactly is this affliction? Where does this whole idea come from? Let's look at how the ancient texts actually define it.
Okay, at its absolute core, Pitru Dosha is a kind of karmic debt. It's simple, really. Pitra just means ancestors, and dosha means affliction or flaw. So the belief is that if the souls of our ancestors aren't at peace for some reason, maybe their final rites weren't done correctly or they had unresolved issues, their unrest creates this negative energy. And that energy, well, it's believed to ripple down the family line and cause problems for those of us living now.
And that is the million-dollar question, isn't it? How can something spiritual, something from generations ago, actually show up in a modern-day astrological birth chart? This is where we get into the real detective work of Vedic astrology, or Jyotish.
So let's put on our astrological detective hats for a minute. In this next part, we're going to look at the exact planetary combinations that astrologers look for as the telltale signs of Pitru Dosha in a horoscope.
This is where Vedic astrology gets super specific. What you're looking for are these challenging or malefic planets, think Saturn, Rahu, and Ketu, messing with key parts of the birth chart. Now, the ninth house is absolutely crucial here. It represents your father and your entire ancestral lineage. So when the sun, which is the symbol for your father, gets tangled up with shadowy points like Rahu or Ketu in that house, that's a huge red flag. Or if you have a heavy planet like Saturn sitting there, it's seen as a sign of a major karmic bill coming due from the past.
But it doesn't even stop there. To really confirm things, astrologers will often dig even deeper into a secondary chart called the Navamsa. Think of it like getting an MRI after an X-ray. It shows you the hidden details. If the planet that rules that all-important ninth house looks really weak in this deeper chart, then you know the affliction is pretty intense.
So we've seen how this cosmic knot gets tied in the stars. But what does it actually feel like? How does this stuff show up in the real world? This is where it all gets very, very personal. Right, this question is what brings it all home. We're moving from the abstract chart to the concrete challenges people face every single day. And the effects are said to be pretty widespread, touching almost every part of a person's life.
A lot of the time, the first places you feel the heat are in the foundations of your life, your family, and your finances. The old texts talk about these repeating patterns of fighting in the family, strange roadblocks to getting married, and this just relentless struggle with money. It's often described as that feeling of taking one step forward only to be shoved 2 steps back, over and over again.
And the impact isn't just on the outside. It's believed to seep into your mental and physical health too. We're talking about chronic anxiety, depression, or physical problems that doctors can't seem to find a cause for. For some, it can show up as trouble having children, and it's even believed that the kids who are born might face their own set of strange health or learning issues.
Now here's a really important point. Not all Pitru Dosha is the same. It kind of has different flavors, you know? If the sun is the planet that's getting hit, the problems tend to be on the paternal side, so issues with your father, your boss, or your career in general. But if it's the moon that's afflicted by a planet like Saturn, the challenges swing over to the maternal side, affecting your emotional world and peace at home. Okay, after hearing all of that, it might sound like a pretty hopeless situation, like some kind of inescapable curse. But here's the thing. According to Vedic wisdom, it's not. It's seen as a debt, and a debt can be repaid. This is where we get to the path of healing, the rituals of atonement.
The absolute cornerstone remedy is a ceremony called Shraddha. This is done during a special 2-week window every year called Pitru Paksha, a time that's totally dedicated to honoring the ancestors. A really key part of it is offering pinned dawn. These are little balls made of rice and flour. They symbolize a final meal for the departed, and it's an act that's believed to help finally set their souls free and bring them peace.
Now for the really tough cases, especially ones that might be linked to some kind of untimely or unnatural death in the family history, there's a more intense ritual. It's called Narayan Bali Puja. This is a much more complex ceremony with fire rituals, and it's usually performed at specific holy places, like Trimbakeshwar in India.
Beyond those big ceremonies, there are also other things you can do to calm the planets and honor your ancestors. Chanting specific mantras, like the Pitru Gayatri, is said to create this protective, positive vibe. Even simple things like giving to charity on Saturdays, which is Saturn's day, or fasting on the new moon, are all seen as really powerful ways to help.
But, rituals are really only one piece of the puzzle. The ultimate goal here is to actually break that karmic chain for good, and that takes a much deeper, long-term shift in how you live your life. This is all about weaving respect for your lineage into your day-to-day life. It can be as simple as a daily water offering called Tarpan, which is believed to soothe ancestral souls, or even feeding animals like crows, which is fascinating because in Vedic tradition, they're seen as messengers between our world and the world of the ancestors. All these small, consistent actions are thought to build up positive karma that can heal that ancestral line.
And that, right there, is really the main takeaway. When you look at it through a more spiritual lens, Pitru Dosha stops being this scary curse and becomes something else entirely. It's a profound call to action. It's a reminder that we aren't just here by ourselves. We're a link in a long chain. And by honoring our roots, we actually make our own future more secure.
It's a pretty powerful thought to leave you with. I mean, whether you see this as pure astrology, spirituality, or just a really good metaphor for the family patterns we all inherit, the message is about connection and about healing. It asks us to look back not with fear, but with respect, and to take responsibility for the legacy that we're all carrying forward.